Hello, today I wanted to do a long overdue review of my Platinum 3776 Nice. So I won this pen, I think a year ago maybe, in a contest, and I have used it many times since then, and it's one of my favorite pens, and I have been meaning to do a review of it for a really long time, and I just never got around to it. And like I said, this is really long overdue. It is one of my favorite pens, so I wanted to tell you a little bit about it. It's pretty expensive. It definitely, I probably wouldn't have purchased it if I hadn't won it, but after using it, I can definitely, there is definitely a difference between this and then the types of fountain pens that that I purchase at my price point. If you can hear all that noise, that is my dog playing. I apologize for that. So, I think I would probably spend, up to $100 on a pen, and this is more. So there is a big difference. That's all I'm trying to say. And so I can only imagine if I used, an $800 pen, what that would feel like, because it is a different experience. So maybe I would pay more for a pen if I had more money, but it was a wonderful prize to win, and I'm very grateful for it, and it's definitely one of my favorites. Hey, you have to stop. I know you're having fun. He's having a lot of fun, but nobody wants to hear that. So, this one got like a frosted, I don't know if it's acrylic or plastic, but it's a frosted plastic, and it's got like almost diamond cut grooves in it, and it has rose gold accents. So the clip is rose gold, and then the band around the cap is rose gold. It says made in Japan, number 3776 platinum. There's a rose gold ring at the bottom, and then the nib is also rose gold, and you can see there's some rose gold here in this part of the section. The nib is incredible. Like I said, I get now that there is a difference between a lower level fountain pen, something under $100, and then something like this. So I will give you some measurements. Capped, it is about 5.5 inches long, capped, with the cap closed. The pen itself is about 4 3/4 of an inch, and then if I post the cap open, it is a little over 6 inches. So, it fits like this in my hand, and I would say that for me, this is a bigger fountain pen for me, and the cap certainly adds some weight to it. I typically write with it unposted, just because it does make it a lot heavier with that cap, and it kind of weights it so that it's, the weight is all back here, and it kind of it doesn't leave the pen perfectly balanced in your hand because of the weight back here. So like this, it's weightless. It feels weightless. It's a really light pen. It's not heavy like some of my other fountain pens, and it's probably because there's not a whole lot of metal on this pen. So the clip is it's a pretty tight clip. I don't use the clip ever. I don't bring this pen outside of my house, and so there is nothing to clip it to. It sits in my drawer, but it is a tight clip, and so you can hear it springing back. I do like the look of it. It's a demonstrator, so you can definitely, you can see the ink in there, so that's a nice touch. I love the rose gold accents. It's one of, it's like one of my favorite metals, and so it was kind of awesome that I won this because I do love rose gold so much. But I think it looks really sophisticated. The demonstrator aspect of it adds some interest, and I think it just looks really classy. If this was solid, a solid color, I think it would look kind of like a timeless fountain pen. So let's take a look at the nib a little bit closer. So it's a nice wide nib, and you can see the, let me move that light a little bit. You can see, hopefully, on it, it says number 3776, and then there's the platinum logo, 14K, and this is a medium nib, and it says 585 at the bottom, I believe. And so, like I said, I had won this, and I didn't get to choose the nib, but it's so beautiful to write with, and it's so smooth, and it lays down such a beautiful line. In the hand, the section here is very comfortable. It's significantly narrower than the barrel itself up here, and it's nice and comfortable. It's a slick plastic or acrylic. I'm not sure which the material is. It has a little bit of a bump here and then here, and your fingers just kind of sit right in between, and it's very comfortable to hold. If I take it apart, it came with a converter, and I mean, just look at how beautiful that is. I love the look of it. And the converter just pops out like this, and you can just twist it up and down, just like any converter, to fill it. And then it just pops right back in here. I don't know if you can get cartridges for this pen. It came with a converter, so I've just used it like that. So let's go ahead and fill the pen and see how it writes. So to fill the pen, you just need to make sure that you dip the nib in far enough that it covers the feeder hole, which is usually right here at the top, so that the ink can be drawn up into the pen. We're going to start with the converter twisted down so that it will pull the ink up. And I'm going to fill it with Monteverde Purple, which is one of my favorite inks. I was going to put a turquoise in there, but I already have another pen inked up with turquoise, so we'll go with purple. If I can open the bottle and not make a mess. It's a really tight seal on there. Okay. Isn't that pretty? It's not as vibrant on camera as it is in real life. It's lovely ink. Got my paper towel ready. So I'm just going to go ahead and dip the nib in there. See if I can get it closer so that I can actually see what I'm doing. I'm going to draw the ink up. And I'm clearly not in there because I'm not drawing anything up. Alright. There we go. And I don't need to fill the whole thing up. So now I'm just going to take it out. If you don't know how to fill a converter, that's how you do it. And I'm just wiping off the excess around the section. So I've learned over time and just in using fountain pens that if they have a converter, you can fill it up with a syringe, and then you kind of save the nib from getting covered with ink. But the benefit to filling it like this is, even though you have some cleanup, the nib is kind of already wet and ready to go to write, so that you don't have to try to prime the nib in any other way. So then I just twist the body back on there. It's nice that you can see the ink through there. It's kind of hard to see the color of the ink. The purple is a little bit dark, but you can still see the ink level at least. And so I'm going to see how this starts just from the beginning, just like I said before, with the ink in it and without the cap posted. It has a nice balance. It feels good in the hand, and it's not really that heavy at all. So let's go ahead and write some things. So right away, the nib is super smooth, no scratchiness whatsoever. It it just kind of glides across the paper. This is just Arc notebook paper, and it's just like I said, it's definitely a step above anything else that I have, and I can feel the difference between this nib and the other nibs that I have. I don't know if it's the gold, I don't know if it's the design, the shape of the nib, but it is so much more smooth and just soft feeling, if that makes sense. There, like I said, there's absolutely no scratchiness whatsoever. That skipped because I picked up the pen off the paper. So I'm just going to test some springiness in the nib and some line width. I've been really delicate about it because I don't want to mess the nib up, but I will do that a little bit here. It's not meant to be a flex nib by any stretch of the imagination, as you can see here, but it is, there is not a whole lot of variation. Maybe it's because I'm too afraid to push, hard enough to make variation. I don't want to like tweak the nib in any way because it's so smooth and perfect right now. And it came that way straight out of the box. I didn't do any tuning to it at all. So it has a very consistent line width. The medium, it doesn't seem like a medium. To me, it seems like you could get away with writing with this every day. The medium, like Lamy, is a lot thicker, but this isn't, a European nib, so that's probably why the medium seems, acceptable to me for an everyday use. So there isn't really a whole lot of flex here. You can see that with whatever writing I'm doing, there is absolutely no skipping. There's no dry spots. There's no overly wet spots. It's just a beautiful, consistent flow of ink out of this pen. And this has been my experience with it every single time I've written with it. I know I do a lot of reviews on pens that I've just gotten, and so I'll give you like a first impressions, quickie review. But this is a pen that I have used, I can't remember when I won it, if it was like, I think it was maybe 2 years ago that I won this pen. And I have used it, and it consistently has been probably one of the best pens that I have in my collection, one of the best fountain pens. This and my TWSBI have been the most reliable, the most perfect writers. Just really fantastic pen, fantastic writing experience. I've had no problems with this that I can think of. It's been an excellent pen, and so this makes me, tempted to buy a more expensive pen, but that's not really my budget right now. But I do feel really grateful for having won it because I did get to have, this pen in my collection, and it's a beautiful writing experience. So if you can just look, you can see that the line is perfect. I like the medium, so that you do get a little bit of, the shading, the differences in the ink, which is kind of nice. If I had used a different ink, maybe one of the Shimmertastic inks or something like that, you might see a little more of the sparkles because it's not a fine nib. But it's just a beautiful pen, and you can see all of that fast writing that I did, not one skip in the whole bunch. So smooth, and just so enjoyable to write with. Requires absolutely no pressure. You just lay it down and it goes. I hadn't used this in a while, and you saw it was completely dry when I inked it up, and it started immediately. There was no hard start at all. It's just a beautiful pen. So Platinum did an excellent job with this. I don't have a lot of familiarity with Platinum pens, so maybe they all are like this, but this is a fantastic pen. And I would highly recommend it. It's just incredible. So I hope that you found this useful, and I hope you have a good day. Bye-bye.